Thanks, Kirsty, and good morning, everyone. What an amazing session this is. This will be a little bit different to what you've been hearing, but we're in the greenfields exploration business, and we're finding Tier 1 deposits is the foundation, if you like, for a lot of these major developments. So that's what we've been trying to do. It's not an easy game, but it's one that we're well versed in attempting. So look, thanks again for the chance to be within this great time slot to give you an update of who we are and what we've got in front of us. We're an exploration company with big ideas and big ambitions. Our focus is mainly on base metals, copper, lead, zinc, nickel, both in Australia and in Peru, looking for deposits that most major mining companies would be interested in developing. Hence our alliance with South32. We like to drill early in the process, as soon as we've identified a target, as drilling as many targets as possible is one of the keys to success in our business. As far as bang for your buck, we've always spent more in the ground than we have raised from the public. In fact, it's something like a 4-to-1 ratio, which is pretty amazing, providing shareholders with a greater chance of success than would otherwise be the case. The disclosure, which others have talked about. Our alliance with South32 has been running now for 8 years, which in itself is a testament to the people and the projects that we have on our books. They have exclusive rights to our projects by providing funding to advance projects of their choice, plus a little extra, 15% on top, which helps to keep our company afloat. When they pull out of a project, maybe because we've found something that's a bit too small for them, we retain 100% of the project going forward. They may keep a small royalty up to 1% maximum, depending on how much money they've spent, but no equity remains with AusQuest. We've held numerous technical meetings with their staff over the years, with robust discussions in order to get the best outcomes for the projects. Our relationship with South remains very strong. A quick look at our projects. We have a number of them, so it's hard to get them all in, so I'll only talk in detail about a few. In Australia, we have 7, 4 of which are under the alliance, which is funded by South32. Most of our projects are in WA, although we do have one in South Australia, just north of Prominent Hill, and one in Queensland, south of Cannington. Our Mount Davis and Coober Pedy projects, which are in green, which are not under the alliance at this stage, are in the early exploration stage, and we hope to have them ready to present to South before the end of this year. So with a bit of luck, if they take them on, then we should be drilling them next year as well. But I'll run through a couple of the ones in Australia. Our Balladonia project, for us, it's a very exciting project. It's very poorly explored, and it contains rocks similar to those that you find in the Broken Hill area in New South Wales and in the Mount Isa Cloncurry region in northwest Queensland. These areas contain large lead, zinc and copper gold deposits, so why not at Balladonia? We see no geological reasons why there shouldn't be those types of deposits in our area. Whilst there's a lot of cover that prevents us from seeing the rocks that occur beneath without drilling, the cover is still relatively thin, less than 50 metres. In places in Queensland, people are looking below 100 or 200 metres. So less than 50 metres is pretty easy, and it allows our exploration teams to use geophysical methods to try and identify drill targets. Following on from our regional drilling program that was completed last year, which confirmed the presence of highly prospective host rocks over much of the area, we are now in the target definition phase. We're using gravity and EM techniques to identify and prioritise targets ahead of a drilling campaign that we hope will get underway early in 2025. This target definition phase is currently in project. We have crews on site at the moment, so potential news flow from that in the not too distant future. And to remind everyone, this is work being funded under the Alliance, so it's not costing us any money. We have at least 8 targets, EM targets already defined. We're doing groundwork on them at the moment, and we have a couple of large areas that we think of Broken Hill type stratigraphy, and we should be looking to drill those early next year. At Morrissey, which is in the Midwest Mining District of WA, we're in the process of defining a magnetite resource. This came about by chance, but in reality it's being funded by South, so I'm not going to argue with it. It's well positioned with good road and rail access to the port of Geraldton, which is only 170 kilometres away. Drill testing of magnetic and gravity targets late in 2022 intersected very coarse-grained magnetite within a metamorphosed or cooked-up type banded iron formation, which, when we processed the samples with simple mag separation methods, we found we could produce a product with the greater than 70% iron. And in this new world of green steel, we are confident that there will be a market for high-grade iron feed into the steel-making process, making this an attractive project. This year we completed some systematic drilling, RC drilling, at the Waterfall prospect with some encouraging results. We found good continuity of grade and relatively thick intersections, starting at shallow depths, making the prospect a candidate for open cut operations. The potential resource is still open in all directions, but well defined by gravity, which is the image you see, mainly because iron is very heavy. The beneficiation test work is in process, and we'll see what grade and how much product this prospect may be able to produce before we determine next steps. Turning to our projects in Peru, we have at least 3 large-scale prospects that are ready to be drilled. By large, I mean several square kilometres in size at each prospect. Peru is an established mining jurisdiction and is the world's 2nd largest producer of copper behind Chile. In our part of Peru, in the south, 4 new mines are either being developed or have been approved by government over the past 1 or 2 years, demonstrating the importance of mining to the Peru economy. They want mines. Some states here need to take note, I think. As well as being a highly prospective terrain for copper, Peru is also open to new mine developments that will benefit the country. The location of our prospects is shown here in green. Our Cangoa porphyry copper prospect is ready for drilling. It's a highly prospective target defined by anomalous copper and moly within multi-vein porphyritic rocks and volcanics scattered over several square kilometres in area. Much of the prospect is covered by colluvium within what looks like a large caldera-like structure that we think is related to underlying porphyry intrusions that are hopefully mineralised. No one's ever drilled here. The prospect occurs within 10 kilometres of the coast, close to infrastructure and at an elevation of 1,200 metres, making it easy to work year-round. We have received permits to drill this prospect, which is what we are planning to do in the not-too-distant future. And again, this has never been drilled. The second target that is also at the drilling stage is our Lantana prospect. This is roughly 20 kilometres east of Cangoa, so along the same structures, and like Cangoa has never been drilled. The prospect is defined by highly anomalous copper values, many in excess of 1% copper, as you can see on the slide, and again scattered over several square kilometres, often marginal to strongly developed lithocap, which is a type of alteration, if you like, which generally tells you that you've got the presence of a porphyry system nearby. We've planned the drilling program and are now permitting preparing permit applications so that we can start drilling here, hopefully early in the new year. Another exciting proposition for our shareholders. And finally, our Playakali prospect. This is a relatively new prospect which covers at least 5 kilometres of prospective strike for manto-related copper-gold deposits. I'll show you what a manto looks like on the next slide. The Minahusta deposit, which is only 100 k's to the northwest, is a manto copper-gold deposit, roughly 500 million tonnes at roughly 0.7% copper. This is being developed now by the Macobra joint venture, and it's a very attractive target. On our ground, we have found copper and gold-bearing manto outcrops along the coast, which dip within the sequence to the north into our tenements, where we are focusing our exploration efforts. Ground magnetic surveys, as you can see here on the image, cover over the covered areas. A lot of the area to the north of the coast is under colluvial type cover. Have identified a number of targets that we're planning to drill. As for Lantana, we're preparing permit applications so that we can drill test these targets, hopefully during the first half of next year. So a lot of our work is getting ourselves ready for a major drilling exercise come 2025. As I mentioned, these are photos of manto outcrops in our ground that show the presence of copper. The green staining on the rocks is a copper oxide carbonate. As you can see, we're very close to the coast. In fact, we've got some rock at our booth that comes from under the water, which is pretty interesting. And you can see there's a reasonable amount of copper around. One grab sample in the right-hand side, you mightn't be able to read it, averaged assayed nearly 2% copper and 3.5 grams gold. What this tells us is that there's a mineralising system at work in this area. But as we know, one sample doesn't make an ore body. So we are keen to expand our search by drilling the magnetic targets in the covered areas to the north. And with a bit of luck, we'll be doing that before middle of next year. So, next 6 months or so will be an active time for AusQuest, with drilling and target definition surveys planned during this period. As you can see, access and permitting is becoming a bigger part of our workload, as it is for many companies. But this can be managed, especially when you have a range and depth of projects that we've developed in AusQuest. So plenty of news flow to come. If you'd like to know more about our plans and projects, then please come and see us at our booth, and we'll be ready to talk, no problems. In terms of investment, as our capital structure, we have 825 million shares on issue and a capex of approximately $10 million. So fantastic leverage given what we have in front of us. Bill was talking about the 5 to 10 bagger. I'm talking about the 10 to 20 bagger. We have approximately $1.5 million in cash, which doesn't sound a lot, but we do get additional funds on a needs basis coming in from the Alliance for the work programs we have in place for the Australian project. So we are generally in good shape. We have a strong and experienced board. Small, yes, but highly functional. A board of one's actually easier, but three's pretty good. And in conclusion, one thing I'd like to point out is that we recently engaged with Investor Hub to try and increase our engagement with our shareholders, not the general public, but with shareholders. We think this is a good thing, as many of you may wish to ask questions and find out more about our operations, which you can now do via the Investor Hub platform. We aim to answer questions within a 24-hour period, so I encourage you to take a look and register for the AusQuest Investor Hub if you haven't already done so. So I can see my time is almost perfect. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and thanks again for your attention.